What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, we are talking The Last of Us, Season 2, Episode 1. But before we get into all of that, Dave, how's it going tonight, sir?
Well, Keith is going fan-freaking-tastic. I actually had a very productive day, so I feel pretty good. Uh, I got a feeling we're gonna have differing opinions on this show. Just judging by last season and what I think happened on this episode. So we'll get into that in just a moment. So, how are you doing, Keith?
Well, Dave, I am tremendous, sir. I'm not surprised that we will have differing opinions on this show. But that's what makes us Not Your Status Quo. It's okay to disagree because it's our opinions. So, if you usually agree with Dave, you'll probably find his, review more enlightening. If you usually agree with me, you probably are a happy-go-lucky person, and you'll probably find mine a little better. But
And if you agree with Doug, then you're somewhere in the middle.
very true. And for those of you who are wondering where Douglas is tonight, he is actually in Japan at Star Wars Celebration, getting everything coordinated for all of the big reveals, which we can't talk about yet. But we'll talk about, next week or whenever Star Wars Celebration is. I think it's next week. It's at the same time as the NFL draft, so.
Oh, it is? That would be 2 weeks, I think. I was thinking the May 4th.
No, it's April. You know what? I think it's a week before the draft. I think it's next week. Because I've been seeing people saying, hey, I'm leaving for Japan in a few days. So I think it is coming up next week, but I never know. I don't know anything.
You know everything.
It's been crazy lately. You know how it is.
I do.
But let's talk a little Last of Us. This episode was called Future. Why is this not? Oh, my OneNote.
Future days.
My OneNote is acting silly. Had to close it out. Sorry about this, everybody. Oh, now you can see. There we go. There we go. Okay, it is called Future Days, as Dave said. And, it starts out, we actually see that final scene from season 1 where Ellie is like, you got to promise me, hey, that story you told me about the fireflies is true, right? And he's like, yep, 100%. Actually, he kind of pauses for a minute and says, okay.
And the thing about that is, going back to last season, she knows. She's not stupid. She can see it in his eyes. And now she knows she can't trust him. That hurts.
Well, now, and do you think that's why they have, because obviously we take a 5-year jump.
Uh-huh.
Well, we do something happens first, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But, we get that 5-year jump, and their relationship is not good. Do you think it's because she knows, even though he won't admit it, that he was the one who basically killed all the fireflies? It wasn't a raider situation.
Yeah, she knows. And it's been festering for 5 years. And then you add that into what they discussed on the episode, being that, like, he's basically a father figure to her. And she's a teenager, So they're going to have problems. Add that on top of it. Yeah, that's probably created the rift there, I would think.
I would think so too, and I don't know if there's something else is going to come up that adds a little more fuel to the fire because they are really not in a good place. But before we get to that 5-year jump, we do see Abby and Owen, who basically, Abby is the doctor's daughter who Joel killed rescuing Ellie last season. So she's like hell-bent on revenge, and she's not only, hey, we got to get him, before they take off for Seattle to, another safe house or, I don't think it's a firefight place, but it's basically another settlement. She's like, and we're going to kill him slowly. I mean, she's in a dark place, and I don't know how that's going to play out over the season. Dave and I have not played the games. If any of you are out in the chat saying, we know what happens, because I've heard some things that happen in the game. Now, we don't know if they're going to happen here, but we definitely have someone who is probably not going to let go of that feeling very much. Kind of almost like Elle, her feeling she's holding on to towards Joel that we see kind of play out in this episode.
Yeah, and that's the girl from Last Man Standing, the Tim Allen show.
I have a strict no Tim Allen show watching, so
Oh, well, good.
I'll take your word
Then you
for it.
wouldn't have seen her before.
No, I have not.
She was the youngest daughter. She's grown up, and yeah, she's a little bitter. She's a little angry. And in anything I've seen her in that wasn't that Tim Allen show, which I never purposely watched that show. I would walk in and it would be on, and I would have to see part of it. But anything I've seen her in where she's not in that show, she's been angry. So she must do angry very well.
Well, it certainly seems that way. She did it really well in this. Now I'm wondering if it's that she's not a great actress. She's just angry all the time, and she's
angry all the time.
playing herself. No, I'm kidding. I'm sure she's watching. We're joking. You're a fine actress, a great actress. We know you're not angry all the time. But we do see, Ellie in a little combat training. Did you think it was combat training at first? When they were like fighting?
Yes, because I knew that they weren't in a battle space right now, so I didn't figure that was jumping ahead or jumping behind. I thought she was training, even though it looked intense. But still, I thought
with the bloody nose and how much they were going at it, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Like, is she? I thought my first instinct was that she's like totally rebelling against everybody and fighting people and just, kind of going against, but. It was a little combat training, and we.
She does have a lot of anger that she has to work out, and training, I'm sure, does her a lot of good in that area.
Do you think any of it? I was wondering about this. Do you think her not being like, she probably was like, I'm basically going to help the world because I have a cure, and as far as she knows, because what Joel told her, they couldn't do it. And then raiders attacked, So she thinks whatever is protecting her blood isn't something they can, use as a serum for other humans to protect it against. So she might be a little bummed about that too. Like she did all that traveling with Joel just to try to save the world or save humans, and then it didn't pan out. Now she doesn't know the true story. She probably has some idea. She probably has some idea that Joel took out the Fireflies, but I don't think she understands that she does have what they need to save the human race.
Just, you can't let her kill her for it. I mean, I don't know. He could just express that to her.
And I think he probably will. I think if he explains to her that, hey, they were going to have to kill you, you were going to die, but your blood would have been able to use. And I couldn't let that happen. I've lost too many people close to me. I couldn't let it happen again. I think she would have a little more understanding, but I think she'd still be a little mad that he lied to her. But
yeah,
as a dad, I think he told her what was easiest for her to accept and move on, not realizing that deep down she knows.
Yeah, I mean, and he had to feel it too, the way she looked at him when he said it. And I don't know if you've ever even just told a white lie to cover like a surprise party or something like that. I know that even if I tell a white lie, if I'm looking somebody in the eye, I feel like, oh shit, they can tell, and so he's got to feel that too because of the way she stared him down after he said it. She stared at him for a minute and he's got to realize, oh, she knows. And now we're just going to play this game that we acting like neither of us know, but we both know.
Yeah. I did think it was funny that one Jesse kid was like, don't go full strength. I don't want any retaliation from Joel. And man, that just kind of set her off a little bit too. Like, hey, you don't need to protect me. And she's not wrong. Living in those conditions where you're like in a wartime situation. You can't go easy. You can't hold back. If you're training, you got to do the best of your ability. It's going to hurt somebody if you actually get into a situation where, you know, her skills are needed, if you're not honing them properly, if she thinks she can take a punch right in the face because she did it in training because they were holding back, she's probably going to be knocked out.
Right.
It's not a good thing. And, you know, then we, what's her friend's name?
I can't remember. I'll tell you. I can look it up for you.
Oh, Dina.
Dina.
Dina shows up at Joel, and he's kind of fixing the circuit box, and she wants to learn. And, you know, I liked her. How do you tell if a wire is live? You lick it? He's like, oh, dear.
Oh, dear God.
But she also finds out that he is seeing the therapist in town, which, nice that
Catherine O'Hara
therapist survived, you know, and he has someone to talk to. I did not expect the conversation to go the way it did.
At least she cleared the air. You know, Catherine O'Hara, that is, the therapist. She let him know why she hates him, but she can still help him. But he's going to detect something's wrong, so might as well put it on the table.
I thought you know, I have never seen Catherine O'Hara in a dramatic role. She was awesome. Like,
It was good.
Pedro Pascal is always great. You know, he does things so well. He's such a great actor. And when I noticed it was her, I was like, oh, wow. I'm like, have I ever seen her in a dramatic role before? Well, besides Home Alone, of course. But, you know.
Oh, yeah, that was so dramatic.
She was tremendous. And it was, you know, she's like, listen, I know you're holding, I've done this long enough. I know you're holding something back from me. And you know what? This is going to be tough for me to say, but I hate you. And I still hold you responsible for Eugene's death. And I know you had to shoot him. I know it had to be done, but didn't like the way you did it. And I'm still holding a grudge. And I thought for sure he was going to open up a little bit to her, but you know, I saved her and I did my thing. You know, I have this strained relationship, but you know, until he finally admits it, things aren't going to be great for him and
I was wondering, I recognize the actor now. I don't know if you have this good of a memory, but is his brother the guy who played Benjen on Game of Thrones? Benjen Stark.
No, I don't think it's Gabriel Luna from Terminator Dark Fate.
This guy is, or
Yeah.
the other guy is? This guy
Tommy
is.
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember Terminator Dark Fate. We only saw it once at the theater. I can't believe I don't remember.
How crazy. That's just. But, you know, and we see Tommy and Elle kind of out, you know, taking out some clickers with the scope. And I kind of laughed at the part where she's like arguing with him. She's like, fence duty? No, I'm not going on fence duty. Why am I on fence duty? Well, you didn't listen to orders. And Joel, that's it. And he's like, I've never met two people that are the same person. And she's like, well, if you can never win an argument with him, you're not going to win it with me either. So you might as well let me go out on patrol. And he's kind of like, okay, I guess I can't argue with that kind of logic. Then she actually goes out on patrol with Dina, who they seem to be best friends. Ellie obviously has some feelings for her. They kind of played on that when they're getting, like, she's putting her coat on her, and you could feel it. And obviously, well, what we've learned this episode is she was dating Jesse, and then she was dancing with another guy at the thing. So it seems like she wasn't for her, but we'll get into that in a minute too. But you know, they find blood. They kind of travel down to blood. Of course, you know, Ellie, you're gonna follow orders, or we're pulling you out. We better check it out. You know, we're what is it called? I can't.
Recon.
Recon, yeah, we're doing recon, so we got to figure this out, you know. And they follow it down, and a bear was killed by, you know, a couple clickers, and they see blood going up into the roof, so they decide to go up there. And, you know, I really enjoyed how they use the lights to kind of signal each other, because obviously the clickers and the mushroom zombies can't really see light. It's all about sound with them. So like clicking, and then of course when they are like joking with each other, like, and they're kind of laughing, well, being quiet, but I'm like, okay, they're getting too comfortable. That is always a bad sign in a movie or a show, when people in a dangerous situation are too comfortable. And it seems like they have everything well in hand. They find Elle jumps onto one clicker, takes him out, didn't get bit or anything, but then she falls through the floor. And I love the fact that zombie, the clicker, I don't even know what you call him, was kind of stalking her. And it knew
from around the corner.
It's
It's learning.
Yeah, they've gotten smarter. They're learning tactics, which I'm assuming with the hive mind, as they encounter other things, they're able to figure some things out. It knew not to rush right at her, and instead, hid. And once again, she's a little too comfortable, and she's like, I could take out a clicker, no problem. It's one-on-one. And she just walks past where it's hiding, not really paying attention. She's got a lot to learn about patrolling and, looking on guard. She walks past it, and it kind of, she feels it behind her, and she turns around and shoots, and it's gone, and it comes at her from the side. Ends up biting her. And I thought for sure that she was going to, like, get it in a arm bar like she had the kid in earlier at the beginning of the episode to kind of get it off. But no, she takes her gun out of her, pops it a couple times and ends up killing it. But, she better stop with her sort of cocky attitude, like she's got everything.
Nonchalance.
Her nonchalance,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's mainly, well, I'll get into that in a minute. I guess that's more of a general wrap-up type of idea. So, we can keep going with the episode here.
Yeah, she ends up getting bit by it. And I kind of knew she was going to get bit this episode. One, they were too comfortable joking around and having fun. And of course, she's the only one who can get bit in the show. And she was, yelling. Tommy's like, we keep that under wraps. You can't tell people that. She's like, I have been bit. I can't be infected. She's yelling and being a stubborn teenager, to put it mildly. But, she gets bit again. And I don't know if she's worried about becoming infected. She's probably, no matter how confident you are, no matter how much you think, hey, I was bit before, it won't happen again, getting bit again, there's probably some part of her like, I wonder if this time now, this was a different kind of zombie, basically. I wonder if this will infect me. I wonder if this will affect my blood. I wonder if I'm going to turn. But she didn't tell anybody. She kept it to herself. She ended up like cutting the bite mark out. I don't know if it was so it wouldn't look like a bite mark, so no one would know.
She just kind of made a hole out of it.
Yeah.
Or a circle. And then, did she stitch it up? She stitched it up, right?
Stitched it up, yeah.
In a circle, yeah, so that they wouldn't say anything like, oh my God, you got bit. Yeah.
Yeah, they have no clue. So if something does happen to her, they're not going to see it coming. And that's, that's not good for a community like that to all of a sudden be, hey, don't tell anyone you got bit just because you think you're immune. You still at least should tell Joel or Tommy or somebody that knows, like, hey, I got bit again. But she's not going to. She's going to be a typical teenager, keep it to herself, and I don't know if it's going to have some effect later on in the season, but it definitely might.
That just reminds me of that Weird Al line in that song Tacky, where he's like, if I get bit by a zombie, I'm definitely not telling you. Hey. Yeah, you should tell. I mean, she is overly cocky with the whole thing. I don't want to break my full thought, so let's finish the show and I'll get to my full thought.
And then they come back, Dina and Ellie have to talk to the council. They explain what it is. Of course, they know Dina's lying when she's like, yeah, I saw the whole thing too. And they're like, yeah, she's lying, but at least you let them know, hey, they have tactics. I thought for sure when they came up on that scene and there was a dead bear, the barbecue, and I was like, this is a trap. I honestly thought they were like going to, as soon as they got off their horses, I thought a bunch of them was just going to envelop them. But they haven't learned how to set traps yet, maybe not. But, they're learning. So, they're not expert, tactical decision makers yet, but, they're getting better.
And the people they were with were very reluctant to pursue any further. That's what you're out there for. Like she said earlier, it's recon. You gotta see what's out there. You can't just give up at the first sight of something. Now, if you get attacked, all right, everybody go back and let's go get reinforcements.
Well, that's why they have horses. So while they're checking out the area, if they come on a large group of them, they can let's ride back. We can outrun them. We'll get back there before them. If they chase us, we get behind the walls. We start mowing them down. You don't. Oh, blood. Let's go report it. There's some blood. Okay, of what? There was blood. Human blood. There was blood.
And you know what? Not only that. Yeah, right. Not only that, there was a bear torn apart. Oh yeah? Did you see what happened there? No, it was just torn apart. We wanted to come home.
See, the first thing I thought was, can they cut the meat out of it and take it back to have, like, it's New Year's Eve, have bear steaks or something. But then I'm like, well, maybe they don't want anything that's been attacked by an infected like that. Maybe they don't want to bring it back, because otherwise I was like, man, they're wasting. That's not how you survive in a post-apocalyptic world, by leaving a bunch of meat behind. But I do think it was probably because the infected had killed it and they were worried that it was. But I would have double tapped that thing to make sure Mushroom Bear doesn't come attacking the encampment in a couple weeks.
See if they could have any methods to see if the bear was actually infected, so they could actually eat it if they wanted to.
Yeah,
I wonder if they've got something like that.
If like frying up the meat will kill off the mushrooms, because we know, well, cold they couldn't, because that first episode of season 1 where they talk about, well, we don't have to worry about mushrooms doing this yet because, the average temperature would have to rise a couple degrees for it to be good. But I don't think that it could survive, like a fire grilling. But I don't know.
Oh yeah, like 400 degrees over a fire. Yeah, it would probably do what all other viruses do under that kind of heat.
And I did laugh one time in this episode out loud. I wish there was an acronym for that. When she was looking at the employees of the month, and the dog was the employee of the month one time. I don't know why I found that so funny. I'm just like, she's looking in, I'm like, oh my God, it's a dog. So funny.
Crypto.
Awesome. And, after they talk to the council was kind of like, yeah, well, we got to keep our eye out for this. Obviously, things are going to change. But hey, it's New Year's Eve. Let's head down to the dance or whatever. And Ellie shows up at the dance. She's watching Dina dance with some guy. Her ex-boyfriend is there, and she's kind of like, oh, you guys will get back together. And yada, yada, yada. And she comes over and wants to dance with her. And they're getting pretty chummy. And, she says, basically, Ellie's like, oh, all eyes are on you. She's like, I bet some are on you. I bet they're watching you. They're jealous of you. They want to be on. And then they kind of kiss a little bit, but then they get a little deeper kiss, and they're kind of getting into it. And I hope Dina's not leading her on, because that's not a cool thing to do. When somebody likes you, to lead them on like that is a bad thing. I don't think she is. I'm just hoping she's not. But then Seth decides to tell them, hey, this is a family dance, stop it, calls them a homophobic slur. And Joel just comes out of nowhere and just decks Seth. To which Ellie tells him, I don't need your help, to stop it. Basically, she didn't even say, I know you're trying to help me. I know you're trying to do what you think is right, but I don't need your help. And he leaves. And then she comes home later, and he's just playing the guitar he strung for her on the thing. And they just eyes kind of meet. Not a word is said, and she just goes back into her thing. And I was like, as sad as that was, I'm glad they just didn't like, oh, we're going to make up now. It's not, everything needs to be resolved at the end of the show, they're still mad at each other. She still knows he lied to her, and it's probably a tough thing for her to forgive, knowing he killed all those people. She doesn't know why he did it yet, but she kind of knows. So I'm glad they kind of left it at that. And then the little pipe that was broken earlier because it was filled with a couple tendrils are kind of coming through there. So obviously Jackson is about to be, I don't want to say infiltrated, that sounds a little bit, but basically the infected are making their way into Jackson. So that is not going to be as... The what?
Infested, maybe?
Oh, that's not... Yeah, infested might be a good word. Because they will have to get somebody to become, one of the infected. But they're stretching their tendrils in there. So they're going to start, one, with their hive mind, be able to communicate. There's a bunch of people here. So they're probably going to be attacked. And if you saw some of the scenes from later, it does look like a horde of the infected is coming. But we see that. But then we also see Abby and her friends right outside Jackson. So they're going to be... I don't want to say they're going to be, because I don't think Abby has anything against the rest of the people of Jackson. But
right.
Joel has some major problems coming up. He's got this girl who wants him dead, a slow, painful death. And then they're getting infested with some tendrils. So it's going to be interesting. And that's where it ends.
So that's what I was going to say. I mean, you highlighted all of the plot points, but at the same time, as you're watching the show, I feel like the plot points you highlighted were still kind of not the main part of this episode. The main part was focusing on other things. I felt like it was kind of watching an episode of Dawson's Creek or something. It was focused on their little romance and her relationship with her, I don't want to say father, but father figure.
Yeah.
And that was the main focus of the show. And the mushroom heads and all the other stuff was kind of just peppered in there, kind of just dropped in there at certain points. It wasn't the main focus of the show. That was my issue of it, especially with the season premiere, because the first season I wasn't really enamored with. I liked it, but it was nothing I would go back and watch again. It was all right. And it was mainly because of her attitude and just always being contradictive to everything and always just being this little brat, driving me nuts. And I know she's a teenager, but she's a teenager born in a post-apocalyptic or whatever world. So she has no other teenagers to compare herself to outside of that, world. So you'd think that she would be more concerned with, I don't know, focusing her energy on staying alive and not being a brat. But it seemed to be so much of her personality that I just don't like it. It gets under my skin because I hate it when people act, out of that on purpose. You can't control it. You got to be, and I know what the rebuttal's going to be. It's just something I don't like. It's not the focus of the show. She can't seem to be able to focus on just being civil to get through things. And, I don't know. That's the reason I didn't like the show. It seemed like it was more focused on like a Dawson's Creek type of thing for me.
Well, it was very focused on their relationship. I've never seen Dawson's Creek, so I can't say.
Well, I tried to pick a show that you would know too, damn.
Oh.
At least you know what it's about though, right?
Yeah, but it was very much about the relationship and what's going wrong and everything. But for me, it was like being, they feel safe now. So these emotions are there. I think if it ever came down, when it comes down to, the infected coming in and attacking, I think, she's going to let those feelings probably go a little bit. Because, she does train. She does do the right thing. She is trying to, get better. She doesn't want them pulling their punches when they're training. She wants to do right. She's working on getting better with the guns and the scope and everything. She does those things right. She just cannot be civil to Joel right now. And I get it. What she feels kind of betrayed by him, probably. So, and I will say this. She does have excellent taste in music. Playing Love Buzz by Nirvana off Bleach was an excellent choice for her character, I think. So I was happy to hear that when she was, what was she working? Oh, she was writing in her journal, when they were letting us know that she has a thing for Dina. And she's like, don't blow this, don't blow this, yada, yada. But, I mean, overall, I thought it was an enjoyable episode. It obviously is leading to, a few different things. Now, here's my question. Do you know what roles Dina has been in before or coming up to?
No, because I was looking at her and like, where do I recognize her from? No, I don't.
She was in Dora. She was Dora in Dora the Explorer, the live action movie.
Okay. Didn't see that.
She's Hawk Girl in this summer's most anticipated film, Superman.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Very cool.
Yeah. I was looking at her and I'm like, God, I know who that is. Who is it? Then I'm like, oh my God, it's Dora. Then I'm like, oh my God, that's Hawk Girl too. She's probably been in some other things, but she's a good actress. I really thought that this was leading in, hey, it's been 5 years. They still feel pretty safe here. Obviously they're trying to rebuild. The whole, scene with Joel. Oh, that was Sully, yeah. The whole scene with Joel. Oh, hi, buddy. What's up?
Hello, everyone. Subscribe.
Excellent.
Okay, don't hit my webcam, though. You knocked it off the last time, dude.
Subscribe, because they are cool.
Oh, thanks, buddy. That means a lot.
Right about
Appreciate
that.
it.
They're also pretty awesome. You should, I don't know what to say, but just subscribe. They're really awesome.
Take it from Sully. Subscribe. Do all of
Like.
the YouTube things. Like, comment. Follow us on Twitch. Do the things you need to do. Thanks, Sully. He will get a treat later. I mean, that's an unpaid endorsement.
Extra cookie at bedtime.
But, it just shows that, this is the calm before the storm. Things are coming. Obviously, we got the hint that the infected are getting smarter. We got it at the end, that the tendrils are getting into Jackson through that broken pipe with all of the things. And Abby and her friends, who are hell-bent on revenge against Joel, are coming into town. So even though it was a slower pace, sort of dramatic episode, it, gave us some things that I think are going to be big coming up this season. And I was kind of watching it when I was done. I was kind of like, yeah, this might not be Dave's favorite episode. I didn't think you would bring up Dawson's Creek, though, because I didn't even...
Well, what was the other one I thought of? I thought of like
The OC?
Friday Night Lights or something. I just wanted to think of something that you would know, and I was like, well, we can't do like 90210. What did you watch 90210?
90210, yeah.
Okay, okay. There's my comparison. Then 90210.
She gives me heavenly thrills. 90210. If you can name that band, you get $5.
What's it? Weezer.
Urge Overkill.
Urge Overkill. Oh, they're the ones who sang You'll Be a Woman Soon
Yeah.
from Pulp Fiction.
Yep.
I knew who they were.
They actually have a great song called Sister Havana, too. It's all good. So I'm looking forward to next week's episode. I'm glad that this is a weekly thing and it's one episode a week. I enjoy this. We had a lot of drama. We had a lot of feels for this, not only between Joel and Ellie, but Ellie and Dina. And, we got Tommy. The whole thing, too, which I thought was a great scene. And I thought it says a lot about where this country is right now, too. When, she's like, we need more buildings. We need a place to keep these people. And I got that construction dial. Let me turn it up and we'll get it done. And he's like, hey, you got to take care of your own first and then you can help others. And she's like, remember, Joel, you're a refugee too. And I don't know if that's going to hit home later, but, and they're both right. I mean, it's hard to argue. You don't want to see anybody die, but Joel thinking, hey, we need to make sure our community is safe before we can just start taking everybody in around us. Because you go too much, then everybody's at risk because you were trying to
Yep.
help people. But then again, how do you turn people away? You know,
Right.
you got safety. You don't know what the breaking point is or, what's going to happen. You got to, do all you can to help as many people as you can. At least, that's the way I would think. But I understand Joel's reasoning too.
Yeah. At the same time, he didn't say stop building, but he said we're building basically, but we're building as fast as we can. And then she pushed him another step, and I can see his point of view. Like, yeah, we're doing all we can. Don't get mad at me. I'm trying. We're doing our best.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You guys are bringing in people faster than we can make proper accommodations for everybody. And it'd be different if it was summer. But, because of the cold and everything, they can't just put up tents inside the walls and, keep people, then build out. So, it's not not an easy problem because neither one's really wrong. But, we'll see kind of how that goes. So we got the overpopulation. We got Joel and Ellie's relationship. We got Ellie and Dina. What's going to happen with that if Dina's leading her on or if there is something more behind it. We got the tendrils coming in. We got Abby and her friends showing up. A lot going on. A lot of good stuff to come up next week, hopefully. I don't know how much is going to come up next week, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I realized they were planting seeds, world building, kind of. Well, I don't know if world building, but character development in this episode. It was just not where I thought the focus would be for a season premiere. I thought there'd be more set up to the mushroom head type side of the story than the personal side.
And I think we'll definitely get the more of the mushroom, the infected side of things and figure out where they're coming from and what's going on with Jackson and where it all goes from there. But should we rate this episode, sir?
Yeah, we should. Let's do it. Yeah, like I said, I didn't enjoy this episode. Like I said, I can't even rate it. For me, I'm not even gonna rate it as a 5. I'm not even gonna go that high because I was just so disappointed in it. I was looking at my phone a lot, wanting it to be over. The parts where Keith explained that were feeding into the mushroom side of it, that I found interesting. But like when they were on the recon and they were just like Keith said, like they were goofing around, I really wanted, well, I really expected something to happen. Like when she was still, because it seemed like she was looking at her for quite a while, and this thing had a ton of time to close that distance. And I thought it was just going to come around the corner and then we're going to have some sort of battle. And we didn't. And I was like, okay, they're getting a little too cocky for me. And I actually wanted something to happen. I mean, I guess I kind of did where she got bit, but I wanted it to, like, them to realize, smack them back into reality. Like, oh, I have to be serious. I can't be fooling around. That didn't happen. But I don't know. And her just being, I know, I don't want to say a whiny teenager, but a teenager in a dystopian world. I didn't like that, but it that's just my personal feeling. I think it distracts from the story sometimes when she's rebelling just to rebel. It seems like when she has got to be contrary just to be that way. And it's not just this episode that it's been in for me. I felt that way almost all the last season. So I don't know. I hope they ramp it up because I don't want to sit through a whole season of this. What they did with this episode, I hope they ramp it up and it goes somewhere. But for this episode, I'm only going to give it a 3.5.
Wow, we definitely are a lot different on this episode today. I enjoyed almost all parts of this episode. I thought they did a great job with the character development. I thought the acting was tremendous. Pedro was great. Catherine O'Hara was very surprising in a dramatic role. I did not know she was going to be that good, and I thought she was brilliant. That whole scene between her and Joel talking about that and her, I need to say this, It's scary, and I don't want to, but that's why I have to say it. Almost giving the roadmap to Joel that he's got to come through. I know you're hiding something, and he eventually has to come through with it. Into all of, finding out that the infected are getting smarter and have plans. I thought they had set a trap. I really did. And I was like, whoa, that's a little bit crazy. But it didn't go that far. It's not becoming, a general it's not Napoleon. They're not Napoleon all of a sudden. But they're learning, and they're going to keep getting better. And I think that's going to be a problem for the humans unless they can find, a cure. And I enjoyed Ellie and Joel not getting along. I enjoyed Ellie and Dina, sort of their budding relationship, and her wondering if it's real, what's going on. Is she just kind of making the boys jealous? Who knows at this point? I enjoyed the fact that even though she's a whiny teenager, she still trains. She wants to do a good job, and she wants to protect that town. And she's a teenager. I don't care if it's post-apocalyptic, anything else like that. Teens are probably going to be teens, no matter what time frame, no matter what. You've got zombies busting down the gate, and your dad tells you, "Hey, we need some help." Oh, now? We got to do it now, Dad? Oh my God, I was relaxing, or something crazy like that. I just thought overall it was a good piece to lead into a season. They had some relative calm, and so they had a lot of these emotional things going on, but it wasn't just that. Infected's getting smarter. They're in Jackson. Abby and her revenge crew are almost to Jackson, so I worry about Joel. And then you even see some infighting between the people. That Seth guy did not like the fact that those two girls were kissing. He kind of took offense to that. So there's even some bickering between the people inside of Jackson. So I don't think Jackson is going to last much longer. We'll have to see what happens. Once again, Dave and I have not played the games, so we don't know what's going to happen. I've seen one spoiler I know is going to happen, which I wasn't happy someone spoiled it online, but it happens. I'll see, if they play the scene well, it's going to be well done. And right now, I have no reason to believe they won't. And for all of those for all of those reasons, I'm going to give this a 7.5. I thought it was well done. I will definitely watch it again before next Sunday's episode to see if I missed anything. And just, I think, an all-around enjoyable show. They're not rushing things. They're taking their time. And I can't wait to see how Season 2 plays out. And they have renewed for Season 3 already. So it'll be good to see what they do. But what do you guys think? Anyone out in the chat? Have you seen the first episode? I assume you have if you're sitting here listening to us talking about it. Or if you've played the games and watched it, what are your guys' ratings? So let us know.
I also wanted to mention that how you mentioned he got upset at that their homosexual kiss, and I was like, is there room for that in that room? Not saying that's a bad writing. I'm just saying, like, if he was an actual person, is there room for that in the world you're living in now? Just to be like that? Come on, dude. Seriously, reel it in.
They feel safe, and maybe so these things start bubbling up. And I kind of like the fact that they're all a little too comfortable right now. So bad things are going to happen. It always does in shows like this. Oh, and we do got a brownish bird somebody. Cheap viewers on steamboospace.com. Remove the space. Well, thank you, brownish bird. But, we don't like cheap viewers. We like the top of the line viewers. Like Tundra Walker, who says, turn on the baseball game. Scoob. So I'm assuming good things are happening. I've been getting updates. The Tigers are up 9-0 in the fifth. So as a Detroiter, I'm very happy. Tigers have been playing well. But usually when he says that, that means something's going on that I should pay attention to, which probably means Tarek Skubal is really pitching well, if you catch my drift.
Maybe he's throwing a no-hitter like the White Sox.
You're not supposed to say it. That's what I was skirting around.
Well, I'm not watching it, so I can't jinx it.
Okay. Oh, good. Yeah, you're right. You know what? You're absolutely right.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. So we got I don't want to say news, but we got something today. So according to John Boyega, excellent actor, completely underutilized in the Star Wars sequel trilogy, Kevin Feige had asked him who he would like to play in the MCU. And do you know who he said?
Wonder Man.
Oh, I wish. But we already have someone playing Wonder Man.
He didn't say Blade.
No, think of the next saga.
The next, okay. So that's the X-Men saga, right?
Yep. He's been on X-Men 97.
Now I'm trying to think of every character on that show. I don't know. Shoot it.
Bishop.
Okay.
I was like, all right, I like that. I think he would do a great job with that. You know, he definitely, like I said, was underutilized in the Star Wars sequel trilogy as Finn, but they could do some good things. You know, as we know, Bishop is from the future, and he kind of comes back to try to change some things to, you know, help save his future. He's got energy, you know, absorption powers, so he can redirect it. I'd love to see it. Sounds like a good fit. So I hope if your buddy Kevin Feige is watching, make it so, Kev. That's what we need.
Yeah, you know, when they got the whole multiverse saga, and that, you know, I don't really like the multiverse kind of thing because it, you know, we all know why. I've explained it on the channel, but I really don't mind the time travel for some reason. That doesn't bother me. Like Cable coming back from the future, and Bishop, you know, that doesn't bother me.
It's different, you know. Time travel and multiverse are two separate things, and I've always liked time travel stories too, especially, you know, after I saw Terminator when I was young, and it's like, oh my God, they're sending this killer robot back in time to kill someone who's opposing them now. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and of course, Days of Future Past was written long before Terminator came out. So, you know, finding out, you know, they were sending people back in time to try to change events that happened that led to this, you know, dystopian sort of mutant world in the future. Just, I thought was well done. But of course, John Byrne and Chris Claremont can do no wrong in my eyes. So, of course,
right.
I find it great.
And they stopped Tyrion. He was crazy.
Yep. And then we also got news today, a little Star Wars news, if you will.
I will.
Star Wars Zero Company, a turn-based strategy game, is coming out. And it looks like you have a Jedi, a Mandalorian, it looks like, a Republic Trooper, an Ashmech droid, and then someone else. I can't really tell who it is. All set during the Clone Wars.
Okay. So who would what does the Mandalorian outfit look like?
Nobody we know.
Oh.
I was trying to look at it. You know what? You know what we can do here? Silly me. Let's... Oh, there it is. Jeez, I'm like, where the heck did I put that? Give me 1 second. Sorry, everybody, for this. I should have known to put this picture up earlier. But I'm not a very bright man, but that's redundant.
Well, I'll say a rumor that I've read, and I don't know, like all rumors are, we don't have any concrete evidence. But apparently the rumor is there is a Star Wars horror film in the making. Rumored. I don't know. I'm not big on horror films anyway. I'd be interested. Was this just going to be zombies? I don't know what they're going to do. What do you think the idea would be behind something like that?
Yeah, good question. You know, I assumed it would be something like very maybe like a Sith is haunting people, like the ghost of a Sith maybe, or just, some monster like an Aliens type thing, and some crazed alien is just destroying, on a ship, or I don't know.
Maybe they landed on the wrong planet or something.
Yeah.
And it adjusts itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then here's
this picture.
Yeah, here's the picture for Star Wars Zero Company, a turn-based strategy game, kind of like a. Oh, you know what though?
Is that Chopper?
It does kind of look like him.
Yeah, that'd be the most violent player in that game.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna.
One of the clones that looks like could be Andor sitting in the front. Cassian Andor.
It does kind of look like Cassian Andor.
Huh.
Yeah, you know what I'm gonna do? We don't need the title card. Let's
zoom in, Sheldon.
Exactly. I cropped the picture a bit so we can get a better view of the characters. But it is. One's an old Republic trooper, got a Mandalorian. It's kind of like, it was the same thing I thought when Star Wars Rebels came out. I'm like, oh my God, they got like oh wow, a Mandalorian, a Jedi, a Twi'lek. It's like they got every little thing they could possibly have.
I mean, is that Plo Koon, the Jedi?
It kind of looks like him, but I guess it could be him because it is during the Clone Wars. And there you go. You got a little bigger shot of them all.
No, I don't think that is Plo Koon, actually. Now that we got a closer shot.
It's
his race?
His race, yes. Thank you.
And is that looks like Cody. For the clone trooper there?
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, but the Mandalorian has that black and yellow on his helmet. I don't ever recall seeing that before. Then we do have a chopper-looking robot. And then
freaking Cassian Andor in the front.
Or Kyle Katarn from the Dark Forces games. And then that guy with like the helmet on that looks like he looks like Mr. Freeze.
I was about to say that, yeah. And he's sitting there. Well, Cassian, that's what I'm gonna call him right now. Sitting in the front with the marker for
yeah, like they're the bounty. Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, kind of looking forward to it. It's like what was that Marvel game that we played a little bit online? Midnight Suns. That was a strategic turn base, so it'll be. I'm definitely going to check it out. Maybe we'll play it on stream. You never know, or maybe we'll put it on our
gaming
fellow
channel.
nerds gaming channel. I know it's been a while since we posted on there, but we'll get some more content there soon. Well, maybe not soon, maybe not too soon, but we'll get it. We're busy fellows. We got full-time jobs and everything else, so. If y'all just followed, subscribed, watched all of our videos 30 times, we could be doing this full time. So you'd get more content on our fellow nerds gaming channel. So why don't you do it, people? Come on. We're not doing it ourselves.
For us to bring you accurate news more often.
Oh, and then one other thing. Walter Goggins has revealed that they're deep into filming season 2 of Fallout, so that is definitely good news. And if you didn't see it, there was a set photo of Jason Momoa as Lobo that kind of leaked. We definitely won't be showing that on the channel. We don't want any copyright strikes, but I do think he looks good, so I'm happy for that.
I'll have to look that up. That came out today?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. But, out of the two games, Fallout compared to Last of Us. I think Fallout really did a better job with their TV show. I guess we can agree on that at least.
Yeah, I do think Fallout is a better show than The Last of Us, but I do enjoy The Last of Us. I think it's different. You know, they're trying to be more serious and somber, and you know, Fallout's kind of got that goofy edge. But I've played almost every Fallout game. I've never played a Last of Us game, so I might one day. Who knows? I don't want. I'm the same thing. Like, I don't want to start reading the Invincible books now since the show's out. I'll wait till the show's over. I don't want to play the games now that the show's out. I'll wait till the show's over. Then, you know, we'll see. We'll see if I play it.
You don't want it to ruin it for you. I mean, and well, Sierra was telling me, she's probably watching now. She saying that season 2 of Last of Us only, you know, the part 2 of the video game. Season 2 only covers half of part 2. I think that's why we've already been approved for season 3, so they can cover the other half.
Yep. I don't know.
And
there's only 2 games. I don't think they've ever announced The Last of Us Part 3, so we may only get 3 seasons of The Last of Us. And hey, as long as they tell a good story, they don't.
I was gonna say, yeah.
They don't.
Yeah, as long as they can come up with stuff outside the game, good. And just make it a good story.
Don't try to overextend it just because it's popular. Like we've seen so many shows jump the shark. Tell the story you got to tell and then be done.
Yep. Then come back 13 years later if you have another story.
Hey, that's completely. It was so funny because Becky was watching the show and she's like, "I think this show got canceled." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "Well, you know, if more people are watching it now, like you are, maybe they'll bring it back. They'll be like, look, the show's popular again. Let's bring it back for another season." People finally, and that's kind of the joy of streaming. You know, it's show comes out, maybe a bunch of people don't catch it, but then all of a sudden it gets popular and goes viral 4 years after it's out. Hey, bring it back.
Yeah, I think that's happened to at least one show. I couldn't tell you which one though, but I think I remember hearing that happened with a show.
Well, it's going to happen to The Acolyte. You know, that's been catching.
Oh God, no. No, but you know, that's Family Guy got canceled twice, you know, and people started watching it on Adult Swim and that brought that back. So, you know, if it's a good show,
Yep,
you can bring it back. Can be resurrected.
Just because something was canceled doesn't mean it's canceled forever. Well, cool. I think that's all we got for tonight, unless you got anything else, Sir David.
I do not. I haven't been able to look today to see if there was anything new, but I think you covered it.
There hasn't been much. You know, there was a lot of talk about a new Fantastic Four trailer, a new Superman trailer. We definitely should be getting an Ironheart trailer at some point because that's coming out in June, and we still have not gotten anything. But that's kind of been Marvel's thing lately. Like for shows, like Loki season 2, we didn't get a trailer till it was like less than a month till it aired. In Daredevil Born Again, we didn't get anything too early. So I think they're going to wait till Daredevil Born Again is done, maybe Thunderbolts, and then we'll get a trailer.
I did see that we should have a trailer for Doomsday by December, which makes sense because that's 6 months ahead.
Posting that too. Of course we will. I mean,
yeah, right.
It's like people. This is the inside scoop. Anyone could put that one together. You got an Avengers movie coming out in May. I'm hearing that the trailer is going to drop. They just started filming. Enough with your. No one's sitting there going, "We got to get some trailer material together for December."
I mean, principal shoot should be done by December if they started filming it this month. I think that they did. Yeah, they should. Yep. I think they'd be done, and they can put a trailer together by then.
Yes, they definitely can. And you know, Marvel, it'll probably be November. They like to give their bigger tentpole movies like that a little more runway and let the stuff build. Especially, you know, they probably don't want it to release in December because that's when Wonder Man's coming out, and you don't want their Doomsday getting.
Well, they definitely
because Wonder Man.
They don't want to steal the thunder from Wonder Man, or the other way around.
Yeah, which probably the other way, because Wonder Man is going to be the most popular. He's going to take over as Wolverine for the most popular character here soon. It's going to be crazy, but you heard it here first.
I'm sure of it. Yeah.
I appreciate the support, Dave. Let's see who we got.
Well, PG is still on, and we are done a little bit early, so he might stay on for a while.
What time is, it is only 9:14. Let's rate him.
It's a raid.
That's my favorite reason to rate him. Him singing "It's a Raid." Terrible. Ooh, I almost put a 4 in there. And for those of you on YouTube, rating is something we do on Twitch, where we send our viewers to another content creator that we like, and sharing the love, basically. There is a way to do it on YouTube, but it's clunky and weird, and it's not really easy to use, so we don't. But please, if you watch this whole time, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. It's all free to you, and it helps our small channel out tremendously. So please do it if you're watching it outside of the live. Thank you so much for joining us. Same rules apply, and we are about to raid Terrible Gaming on Twitch. And if you're on Twitch watching us and you haven't, followed or subscribed to TG, please do so. And we will catch you guys Thursday night. We'll be talking Daredevil Born Again Season 1 finale, and I'm looking forward to that.
Hey fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.